time for Tom's favourite topic.
It's been my hobby horse all week for purely selfish reasons. It's 35 minutes past 2, and this is an astonishing story. London homeowners in certain London councils have been told to remove their air conditioning units under planning rules aimed at cutting energy use.
Yes, the policy is adapted from Sadiq Khan's London plan. Tell residents to rely on opening windows, shading rooms and fans before using air conditioning.
Well, the Tories say net zero is now denying people modern conveniences. So, has the way we're going about this climate agenda gone too far?
Well, joining us now is the director of the Climate Media Coalition, Donnachadh McCarthy. Donnachadh, thank you very much indeed. So, air conditioning, yes or no?
5 years ago, I'd have said no. But now I'm afraid we have broken the climate. We are now in London facing 3 times more days over 30 degrees centigrade.
Than when?
Than the 1970s. And so therefore I have moved from saying, from an energy efficiency point of view, you do exactly what you just talked about. You have shutters, you paint your walls white, you make sure you have flow of air through the house. But once it goes over 30 degrees, those don't work. So tragically, we're all now going to have to pay the price of us not acting on climate. We're all going to have to...
Is it tragic, or is it just nicer? I mean, as life progresses, we're supposed to have more creature comforts. I mean, there was a time when people didn't have central heating, and it just... I mean, now having air conditioning is the norm. Perhaps this is just like us growing up as a society.
I think that's very
more
strange.
Creature comforts.
Obviously, it's a creature comfort if you have to have it. But 10 or 15 years ago, we didn't have it. What does that mean?
Well, 10 or 15...
Let me finish.
Yeah.
So what that means is that millions of people across Britain in flats and houses who don't have much money will have to pay £2,000 a unit to put air conditioning in, and it costs 50p an hour. So, Tom, that will cost a pensioner between £300 and £600 a year. We didn't have to pay for that before.
Someone just wrote in saying their aircon only costs them 19p an hour.
Well, that's for one room.
Yeah.
Yes, possibly.
And I suppose here's the thing. It's about a third as the cost to power it in the United States of America, where they've got a wealth of natural gas, keeping their energy prices low.
Well, the problem here is that the price of electricity is actually cheaper than 12 other countries in Europe at wholesale price because of our large amount of green energy.
That's before the green levies on
No,
bills.
no, it's not before the green levies. It's the green levies included in the wholesale price.
Right.
Where we have huge amount of levies is on our bills. And that's £500–600 for the profits for the energy companies. There's another, the standing charge, which is another £200–300. Then you've got VAT. It's crazy.
But isn't this a big error from your side of things, from groups like the Climate Media Coalition, from the Committee of Climate Change, because they focused so much on trying to mitigate climate change, just from the perspective of British policy, instead of focusing on adaptation, when really we should have been focusing on that, because we as a country can't control the climate.
The climate movement, which I'm a part, advocates for both. We were advocating
the Committee for Climate Change spent very little time on adaptation. If you look at what they've been writing and putting out there,
I've been listening
the focus has been on mitigation, trying to stop the climate from increasing temperatures.
I've listened to Lady Brown repeatedly issuing reports about how we need to adapt. She produced reports about the railway industry, the water industry, the food industry, the housing industry. And you say we failed. Yes, we have. I cried this week watching the weather go above 36 because we have failed.
Come on,
in the 1970s we were told, the oil company scientists in 1970s, 2 things happened in the 70s. I'm old enough to remember, my grey hair and my baldness. We were told 2 things. We were told if we didn't, the climate scientists for the oil company said if we don't act, we would start damaging the climate. We wouldn't notice it till the noughties, it would start kicking in the 20s and disaster in the 40s. That was one thing we were told in the 70s. We didn't act. The other thing that happened in the 70s was the oil crisis from the Israeli Middle East crisis. That we were told that if we didn't move away from our addiction on oil, we would face repeated economic shocks. The last one cost us £100 billion. We haven't acted. We failed. But we should now listen and act.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. That's a sort of pessimistic way to look at it, but ultimately,
it's my experience.
we have the ability to live in deserts now. I mean, the people are living in parts of the world that would not have been habitable before the advent of air conditioning. Is there a part of you that thinks, should we just go all in on adaptation? Because clearly, I mean, we've done a lot to reduce our carbon emissions. We've reduced them more than any G20 country compared to 1990 levels.
Yeah, we've got a heat wave.
The problem is, few of the other countries have followed us in our radical carbon cutting agenda.
There are countries that are way beyond us. For example, Spain and other countries are actually 100% renewable energy. We haven't tackled transport, we haven't tackled agriculture, we haven't tackled aviation. What we have done here, well, is we've done the electricity emissions. But when you talk about adaptation and living in deserts, you're absolutely right. With air conditioning, you can live anywhere. But you can't air condition every single field on the planet. The real thing I worry about is food. The World Farmers Union, which I've debated quite a few times, they're not the most progressive organisation, I would say, in the world. They're quite conservative with small c. They say they cannot guarantee future food stability. Because of the variation in the weather.
Up. I mean, we've had a lot of worry about this, and yet every single year the world produces more and more food. Even though it's getting hotter, yields are going up, fertiliser is being produced, technology advances, we're going to be doing vertical farming and all sorts.
You will look at the rice industry, the wheat industry, the cocoa industry, the chocolate industry. All of them, the olive oil industry, all experiencing problems and challenges. Significant amount of the inflation already in our food inflation. One is the cost of oil is hammering our food costs, but also the damage from the climate. If you get floods and you get overheat, it's really, really problem.
Just quickly then, on the
thing that's most worrying for us.
To circle back to the start of this conversation, you as a climate change campaigner and a fervent one at that, would say to these councils that are telling people to rip out their air conditioning that they're stuck in a decade that has long since passed?
They were stuck in the early part of this decade. When the advice, you do advice every 10 years. At the beginning of this decade, it made sense. But there is a slight positive here. The billionaire press tax air source heat pumps all the time. An air-to-air heat pump does air conditioning and heating.
Yeah.
And so therefore, for the same investment, we get two, and those, they can all run on green energy. So in the future, that's what we need to be doing.
I don't think I'd be allowed to put a heat pump on my flat.
No.
No.
Well, maybe collectively you could do it on the
flat
roof.
dwellers are going to really suffer with the lack of air conditioning.
Although New York gets by in a much hotter climate than us and a much colder climate.
Anyway, spokesperson... Thank you, Donnachadh.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. A spokesperson for Sir Sadiq said the rules helped keep homes cooler without relying on energy-intensive solutions, adding that local planning decisions are the responsibility of the boroughs, who have their own policies in place.
Now, moving on.